This is Dad to Dad.
Boy, it's been a long time since we've had the little father-son chat.
Just a couple dads talking to other dads about dad shit.
I have a very particular set of skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
Oh, yeah! You put your right foot in, you take your right foot out, you do the hokey and you work it all out.
Daddy's really sorry about what he said in the other room.
Daddy shouldn't waste his time.
And now, your hosts and dads, Winton Yates and Antoine Harris.
I am your father.
Dad gang!
All right, what's up, people? It's another episode of Dad to Dad coming at you from New Orleans, Louisiana yet again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Winton Yates.
Antoine Harris.
And today we're going to be talking to you about back to school. Kids are starting to go back to school. The summer is over, and we got a dad out in Pennsylvania with a pretty dope surprise for his daughter while he was at work.
Yeah, you can't you can't miss that story. It's actually very, very cool. It's something that I can see myself doing, but I would find a way to get around all the effort to it.
You are tuned in to the Dad to Dad Show with Winton Yates and Antoine Harris.
I have a confession to make. Two things. One, you guys don't know this, but Winton is upset with me right now because I was like an hour and a half late to the recording, but it's with good reason, and that's because I have not slept in the last 2 weeks. My daughter is going through sleep regression, and they say at 18 months is when it kind of starts to kick off. She's
It's a real thing.
And let me tell you, last night she fought me and my wife. Jackie had to just like lock the door, like cut off all the lights and just did like the aggressive rocking.
So when did it start? Was she sleeping well before, and it just how did it happen?
Man, she was sleeping wonderfully. Like as soon as she closed her eyes, you can hold her by one hand, like Tarzan, and just put her right in the crib. She was so good, and that went on for maybe 3 months, and then after that, she is a ball of energy. And I was reading, right? So I'm gonna hit my science here. I was reading where after a certain like 18 months, 17, 18 months, like the brain starts to tap into all of their emotional nerves, right? So right now she's like having temper tantrums and like falling out, and it's like, oh Jesus, hit me, and she's very, she can be clingy, or she can be she can have something like don't want to share. Now with the other part of that is at school she's doing wonderful, loves the kids, loves all her friends, but at home she cuts up. And so we are just my wife and I, God bless you, Jackie, we are just trying to figure out how we can sleep. So that's why I was late. I literally woke up when I was supposed to be here.
So what? I texted you. I was like, all right, don't forget to bring yada yada yada. And you were like, no, I just got up.
And I said,
so what happened? Because you texted me, you were like, I only slept like an hour last night. I was like, no, come in because we gotta talk. We gotta talk about it.
Right. So she just kind of fought us, and she was wide awake at midnight when we were trying to go down to sleep. And so and here's the part that really ticked me off. After she goes to sleep, it's 2 a.m. finally, and I start having heartburn. So now I'm back up in the kitchen, and I'm just like chugging water, you know. And I said, you know what, this is just not meant for me to sleep. So thankfully you guys aren't dealing with it, and I'm happy. My hat's off.
To make you feel better, we have dealt with it.
Right.
And I'm sure we're going to deal with it again, as I'm sure this is something that all kids go through. But Ryan is kind of in that point now where she's sleeping through the night. Like, I'm well rested. I slept all the way through the
You're
night.
You're glowing, actually.
I was good. I got up, I took a shower, refreshed. Right. She was still asleep. But there was a point where she was getting up like every 2 hours. And it wasn't like a getting up just because she needed anything or she was hungry. She just got up and just wanted to make sure everybody else was up with her. So you can go in there, you give her pacifier, we call it a buddy, give her pacifier, put her back down, and she's right back out. She just wants to make sure you're up.
Yeah.
And then we got to a point where we would have to go in, get her, put her in our bed for all of 2 minutes. You would literally, as her head was hitting the pillow, she was out. She was just like, as she's going down, her eyes are closing and she was out. But as soon as she hit the pillow, she was out. And then you had to take her back, transfer her back to her bed.
That's actually where I'm at in my life. The minute I touch a pillow, I'm probably gonna crash out. But no, it's good, and I hope that, you know, when that time comes, that it's like the serious sleep regression. I really hope that Ryan, and your experience with Ryan is much better than ours, because right now, you know, we have to be on our energy game. Yes. You know, we have to wake up and be full of energy, because when she's up, you know what she used to do, man? She used to stay in her crib, right? She used to wake up and just start talking to herself. And we would hear her in the other room, and we would just laugh, right? Now when she wakes up, she's like yelling, like, yo!
You need to get up.
It's the morning. And, you know, Jack rolls over, looks at me, and I'm just like, yeah, shoot me now.
She's not crying, she's yelling.
She's singing. I think she thinks she's singing.
Because it's kind of like, it sounds almost like what Ryan is doing. Ryan will get up. She doesn't cry. She won't get up like screaming and crying. Right. She gets up yelling. She wants to. She's not like crying like tears. Mm-hmm. She gets up and just yells like to make sure, like, get up, like, wait, come get me.
Yeah, it's like that scene from you know, School Days at the end.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, when Dax is like, yo, wake up.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's
you know, we got to use that. Yeah. We got to find that. Yeah. We got to use that. I like that.
I'm gonna put it on here. But I think that's a good segue into, well, not really. It's actually a terrible segue.
It's a good time to talk about back to school. No,
it's a terrible segue. But
speaking of school, how's Ryan doing at school?
She's doing really well. She's actually switching. We're switching her school because she finally got into one of the schools that we wanted her to be in. But the school that she was in, we were lucky enough to get her into the school. It was wonderful. We loved it. Everybody over there was great. It's just kind of out of the way. It's in a different area. But the place that she's going to now, she's going to be over at one of the universities where me and my wife are. So we're all going to be going to the same place.
One big happy family.
In the morning. So nice? I'll be going to school. My wife will be going to work. She'll be going to school. And we'll all be in the same, like, 2-block radius of each other. Instead of going the opposite end of, you know, town.
Right. Like kind of how I do right now.
Right.
I don't know if I could work in the same vicinity as my wife and my child. I would get nothing done because I'd be trying to play all day. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's have lunch. Oh, let's text. Let's play Words with Friends. And then I will go drop in on my daughter, and of course nothing will get done. Parish would fall apart, and then I'll be to blame. So,
but you know see, the crazy thing is, or not really the crazy thing, but something we're going to have to talk about is getting your kid into daycare.
Sure.
The fact that we even were able to get her into the one that she was in was...
What were your deciding factors?
A place, a spot.
Just wherever
seriously,
get in where you fit in.
Spot.
Right.
Because here, I don't know if y'all had the same issue out in Jefferson Parish, but over here in Orleans, like, you've got to put your kid on the list to be in a school as soon as you conceive the child.
Yes,
before you even find a name. Yep. And we tell people this all the time, and they think we're joking, but you really have to put your kid on a list, like, immediately. As soon as you even think about having a kid.
I agree.
Put them on a list, because you're still going to have to wait a year before a decent spot at a decent school opens up.
I had a conversation with a guy I work with, and his daughter is she's like 6 or 7 months, something like that. Yeah. But he said quality earlyhood childcare, like daycare centers and so forth, in the city. His opinion is that they're scarce and it's very hard. It's difficult
it's insane.
to get in. Jefferson Parish, insane. I would say it's more spread out, which is great because now, you know, you can, like, I'm near Gretna, so our daycare is in Gretna, but there's a ton of great ones in Metairie. Yeah. The issue is, again, that list, getting on the list. We had to wait a month before Anya could get into the daycare she's in, and we love it, but I have a very, like, strange feeling that she's kind of starting to outgrow it.
Yeah.
Even though I think they go up to like 3 or 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
I just feel like she wants to be challenged more, right? So,
which is good.
So Jackie and I are, hey, somebody's here. It's like Pee Wee's Playhouse. Who is that, John B?
Well, since the doorbell's ringing, I'm going to get the door. We're going to take a break. We're going to be right back with Parents in the News. So I'm going to get the door.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
All right, guys, we're back with Parents in the News, and I got a really good one out of Monongahela, Pennsylvania.
What you call me?
Monongahela, Pennsylvania.
Is that near
I'm
Wakanda?
checking. It's actually near Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. Which is
And
essentially Wakanda.
I was checking with my wife, who's off to my right, because she's from Pittsburgh, to make sure that I was saying it right. But it's a guy named Ricky Smith. His daughter, who is in high school, came to him, wanted to dress for prom. And let's put it into perspective for you. Ricky works 3 jobs. He works at McDonald's, Popeyes, and Circle K. So he works. I'm just gonna
put that on the blooper reel.
Yeah, yes. Circle K.
I'm not mature enough not to laugh.
I was just gonna go right past it. So he worked at McDonald's, Popeyes, and Circle K, and his daughter's 14.
Which is a gas station. For
Right.
those who don't know.
So he's working his ass off.
Okay.
Like he's working 6 days a week. He's got a 14-year-old daughter who wants to go to prom. Of course, she wants to dress.
Right.
She comes to him and says, "This is a specific dress I want. It's $200." He probably did what all of us do and do some quick math in the head. Okay, what kind of hours do I need to work? What kind of stuff? What do I need to do to pull this off? So he tells her, I don't know. Let me see what I can do.
He was like, the way my bank account worked.
Exactly. But what she didn't know is he started pulling some extra shifts. He started working some extra hours, doing what he needed to do. And there's this it's a video that's going viral of her mom taking her to see him at work at McDonald's, and they're sitting there waiting on him, and he walks up to her. We're going to post it on our Instagram and our Facebook and all this stuff so you guys can watch it. But he walks up to her with a bag, like a garment bag, and is like, well, I wasn't able to get you the one that you wanted. This one is from your grandmother or something like that.
Right.
Hopefully you like it.
Right.
He opens it up, and it's the exact dress that she wanted for prom.
Fantastic.
And she freaks out and starts crying. So I just thought that was a dope story for the day.
No, and you know what's funny is that's our life.
Yeah.
That will be our life in a number of years.
Yeah. And like if I had to work extra hours that, she wanted a $200 dress for prom, I'm sure she's going to see this when she gets older.
Oh, yeah.
And be like, you remember when you said...
She looked me up. So, but, here's, what I'm going to do is say, Anya, that's cool and all, but the way my bank account work is... You're not getting that, right? We're going to work together. Sweat equity, as my wife like to say. What you going to do to get this?
How many hours you going to work?
That's fantastic, man.
It's dope. So we're going to put it on our Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, so you guys can watch it. Send us a comment. If you guys see stuff in the news or on social media that you think we should talk about for parents in the news, just let us know. Hit us up on Dad to Dad Show on Instagram, Dad to Dad Show on Twitter. Dad to Dad Show on Facebook. So all the social medias.
Or email us at
dadtodadshow@gmail.com. So you can really find us anywhere at Dad to Dad Show. But 14-year-old being in high school, maybe this is a better segue into our topic for the day. We're going to be talking, it's back to school.
That's right.
It's back to school time across the country for people going.
And, for us, having, obviously toddlers, they're in school year round right now, so that's great. There's some nurseries and daycare facilities that go with the school year. So over the summer, you need to figure it out. Some do, not all.
Bruh.
But it's not happening.
We year round.
But so we have somebody here today. He's a teacher, and he's going to help us for that time when we have to prepare for back to school. But also hopefully share some things that will help out parents, who have questions, this may be their first back to school ever. And what I really love about back to school, and this is when I can say I really, really, really appreciate the community. In fact, the AKAs, the lovely ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority have a health fair and a back to school giveaway that they do every year that my chapter of the Omegas helps with. I have seen where the city of New Orleans has partnered with some people, and they do all the back to school giveaways. Ronald McDonald House was in Jefferson Parish last week with the mobile trailer, and they were in the parking lot of the Sears at the Clearview Mall. And I mean, the line was down the block. They were giving out school supplies. So I absolutely love back to school. And we get the tax-free holiday. I don't need any of that stuff. But
we're going to have to talk about that because I just saw something about Louisiana
Get rid of it?
They're about to get rid of it.
Yeah, because the budget.
Yeah,
right?
the budget's about to get rid of it for the next
you guys are gonna
10 years or something like that.
You're also gonna meet my friend Robert, who's making a face right now. He's not happy about it.
No. So we'll talk about that too.
All right.
But we'll be back. So we got some real good. We didn't mention we have 2 guests today.
It's true. We also have the Registrar of Voters from Dillard University who's going to be here. I like to call him the king of Dillard, but he's going to be here as well because he's going to talk about, from a collegiate standpoint, what parents should do around this time of year, and we get the kind of peer into his life. Right now, hectic. End of the year, hectic. Like, he's really clean cut, but when you see him around this time of year, he's got like a beard down to here.
He looks like us.
Yeah,
we both need to shave and need haircuts.
He's like the Book of Eli, you know what I'm saying? He's blind in one eye from working so hard. So when we come back, man, we will definitely have some very good stuff to discuss.
Yeah, stick around.
Keep up with us and smash that subscribe button.
All right, guys, we are back with a really good friend of mine, Scott Joffe, teacher, educator here in the city of New Orleans, has been for a while. He's actually making a transition. He was in middle school. You were teaching middle school, and now you're doing 9th grade, high school?
Correct. Moving on up.
See.
But he's also a dad. He's got a beautiful little girl. Tell us about it.
Sure. Serena, she's about 16 months, happy, healthy, everything I could have wished for. Sleeps through the night. Sorry, Antoine.
Oh, man. What's that life like?
Wonderful.
Is it wonderful?
Yeah, she's really into her animal sounds right now. So we've been working on monkeys and cats and all kind of stuff. That's been exciting.
Yeah, me and Aya, right? We were doing that too, and I was like, "What does the cat go?" I'm like, "Moves." I've been sleep deprived, so I don't know what the cat says anymore.
So you don't know what the cat says anymore. But what was it like? You how long have you been a teacher exactly?
This will be year number 6.
So when you found out that you were gonna be a dad, you're gonna be a parent to one of these children that you educate, what was that feeling like? Do you think it was a unique feeling being a teacher?
Definitely. So I think, any expecting dad, your priorities are changing and you're kind of figure out how that's gonna go. Yeah. But especially for a teacher, most teachers refer to their students as their babies. So I've always had 100 babies. Yeah. And then like trying to deal with, now I actually have a real child of my own that I have to prioritize. Yeah. I think definitely gave it an added layer of trying to figure all that out.
Do you think would have been some of the key translations between being a teacher and being a parent? Yeah. How is that how have those skill sets translated over into being a parent?
So I think there's a couple easy ones. Speaking of sleep, like getting up early. So when you guys go to drop your daughter's off at daycare, the teachers are obviously there first. They have to be there first to be. So getting up early, easy. Having less money than other people. So teachers make less money in general.
Yeah. I got a checking, I got a savings.
And then trying to get the $200 dress for your daughter, less money. So that's an easy one. Time management, within a class period, within a day, within a week.
So basically, all the stuff we're not good at.
Yeah. Especially guys, we get a bad rap, organization, time management wise. So I think teaching definitely helped me out with that.
So let me ask you this: when you told everybody you were pregnant, right? And Wynton and I talk about this all the time. What was the best advice you got? What was the worst advice you got?
I can definitely start with the worst advice. It was a guy that was like, is it a boy or a girl? I'm like, a girl. And he was like, "Oh, it's gonna be a total chick magnet. Just take your take your baby daughter out wherever." Like he's like, "You don't want to believe me now, but everywhere you go, you're gonna get all the attention." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Damn monogamy.
He was dead serious too, which made it worse. I thought he was joking at first.
Let's start teaching our daughters completely wrong from day one.
Opposite of what we should.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
Best advice you think you got?
It's a tougher one. I've been a workaholic, and again, so this is part of the change going from having 100 babies to now my own daughter. Right.
I'm joking.
What's his name? Antonio Cromartie.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hearing from other teachers that were also parents, take the day off, go on the field trips, that was comforting for me. And
take a break.
hearing that from other parents / teachers was
Don't be a teacher.
something I needed to hear.
Yeah. That's good. Well, I mean, that's cool. I mean, so as a teacher, you've had to deal with this time of the year for several years. Back to school, all the teachers, getting the classrooms together, all the parents trying to get the kids together. How has that changed, or how do you think that will change for you now that you're in both worlds, as the teacher getting the classroom together and as the parent getting the student together?
I think it's just made me realize, like, if you have one child or 2 kids or 3 kids going back to school, the teacher has at least 30. And that's kind of best case scenario. High school teachers generally have at least 100, I would say. And so you might look at the school supply list and, what is this BS, or do they really need this amount, or whatever it is, and just like do the school supply list, please. Like it helps not only your child, but the entire kind of classroom community. It's not extra. Teachers are not just sitting around like put an extra USB or a wireless mouse on there. It's not for them. It's so that
I need some more mouse pads.
it's so that when January rolls around, like, kids can still blow their nose without having to use.
I mean, do you see that? Is that the feeling you get from parents? Is that you're just making this list up?
For sure. Or it comes from kind of 2 different ways. I definitely teach kids who probably their parents can't do some of that stuff, and I think the school is always there to help. But then there's also even parents who went to college, and in college it's like you go to the first class and it's like, okay, see if I really need to buy the textbook type thing.
Right.
Your usual K to 12, like that's not the case. So there's definitely parents that will look at it like, yeah, you don't need this. The wipes, you don't need that. Right. We'll go with the folder and the notebook. That's all you're really going to need. But, the other stuff goes a long way.
So when it comes to, back to school in that list, we have transitioned from books and Trapper Keepers, right, to
Trapper Keepers.
iPads. I know. I'm dating myself. Is that what it is?
Oh, my
I'm
God.
like carbon dating myself, too. And I can't wait for y'all to meet Rob, because he's calling me right now. But, have you noticed that the list and how things have changed and what the kids need? Does it show that as the human race are progressing, we're getting iPads versus notepads, and is that difficult, in as a teacher, to see parents who can't afford these things, to see, you got to share with this, how does that whole list, how it's changed, how does that affect you?
Sure. So I think that's a school by school thing. The type of schools I work in, probably the opposite. So without a textbook, it's like, where are you going to keep all of your daily materials and the worksheets and whatever else? So it kind of necessitates.
You're still using textbooks?
No textbooks.
Oh, no textbooks.
I basically there's online curriculums and whatever else, but I pretty much create all my teacher materials pulling from other trusted sources that I like. And so again, there is no one central place that it's all put together. So that kind of necessitates even more good organization, folders and notebooks.
Do you do that in an attempt to make sure that kids that can't buy the $200 textbook have access to the material?
Nah, that's kind of like a school or district level decision as far as we're not going to buy the textbooks. But so obviously that does end up being cheaper than the iPad or whatever else.
Yeah. What's the must-have back-to-school item right now in the teacher world?
Oh.
Or just tough. In general.
I love school supply shopping and stuff. Even as a student, it was my favorite. Top 5. All right. Kleenex.
I love that.
It sounds silly, but
kids are disgusting.
Yes, definitely Kleenex. I would have never thought that. Okay.
Definitely. I like binders over folders, Trapper Keepers, whatever else. Your standard binder.
See, I couldn't do binders because I have ADD, so I would just sit there and be like zip, 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 zip all day.
It's gonna be a lawyer, people. What else?
I'm going planner, like some type of organization planner, write down your homework type thing.
Those are still a necessity.
Not a necessity, but I think you'd be setting your kid up for failure if you didn't try to instill some of that stuff in them. Writing utensils for a year, not the 8-pack of pencils. That's not gonna last August to May.
Pens or pencils?
Either, both, whatever. Yeah. And then lastly, I would just say let your kid pick out something fun that they like, a folder with the Paw Patrol or whatever it is that they're into. Yeah. Let them kind of make it their own.
What's the worst thing that you could give your kid in the classroom? Because I know there was some stuff
That's a very good question.
That we used to have that would just get snatched up.
Yeah, rubber bands would be terrible, I would say. Again, technology-wise, you get a lot of Apple Watches now, so it's like even like I could sneak my phone and kind of get a text message, but it's real obvious if you're scrolling your watch.
Yeah.
Like it's a watch, tell the time and keep it pushing, but.
I'm sorry, I'm scrolling.
Yeah.
I know at one point there was when we were in the news, we were doing a lot of stories about kids and the fidget spinners.
Oh, man.
Did you ever have an issue with that?
It doesn't bother me as much. Kids came to school with fidget spinners, generally if you tell them to put it up.
I don't know how they work.
It definitely turned into a competition, though. Like, you have a regular blue plastic fidget spinner. I'm coming with all gold. He's coming with a light-up LED screen fidget spinner. That was the more aggravating part. It didn't take away from class.
Mine is going to be matte black, blacked out, Batman symbols.
Yeah. No, Scott, this has been great, man. So let me ask you this. All right. So first day of school, what's the energy like? Is it you get with your colleagues and you're like you guys have a big rah pep rally before? Or is it like, oh God, my summer is gone. No more IG stories, Facebook. None of that. It's just work.
So teachers have been back to work for at least 2 to 3 weeks before the first day of school. So I think that first day of professional development is, I don't want to be here. I was not ready to see you guys again. The first day of school, I think to a person, everybody's excited, probably a little bit nervous in a good way, but I think the energy is definitely super high. And the first day of school should be fun. So like,
yeah.
What do you guys tell new teachers? Like, my first day of new staff. Like, how do you guys get their mojo flowing?
I think a lot of it is being yourself, not letting things slide on day one. So like whoever you're going to be day whatever 60, like try to be that on day one.
Yeah.
And then also again, I think they should get a feel for your class, but it should also be fun. Like if you have a boring class day one, your first impression, you only get one chance at that first impression, especially with a group of 30 adolescents.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back.
You are tuned in to the Dad to Dad Show with Winton Yates and Antoine Harris.
Remember, if you want to chime in, be a part of the conversation, or just see what we're doing when we're not doing the show or in between shows, you can follow us on Twitter, Dad to Dad Show. You can follow us on Instagram, Dad to Dad Show. You can follow us on Facebook, Dad to Dad Show. And you also send us an email.
Dad to Dad Show at
gmail.com.
.com.
So, if you want to be connected, that's how you do it. We're back with Scott Joffe, school teacher extraordinaire, educating us on back to school.
He's dropping like some serious gems, man.
Now, during the break, you asked a really good question that I thought was great. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Scott, you were talking about, is the list, you mentioned community, like it will only benefit the community of the classroom and your kid. So does the list benefit your kid individually, or does it benefit the class as a community?
Yeah, so I definitely think both. Your binders, your folders, that's for your individual child. That's the stuff that they're going to keep use pretty much on a daily basis. The wipes, the tissue, maybe the larger box of pencils is more for the class community, school community. Like your child's going to be part of that classroom culture, that community. If you want them to be able to blow their nose in October, they're not going to be able to only keep their box of 200 tissues. Like that is kind of for the greater good. I'd say the majority of their list is for themselves.
What do you say to the parent that's like, if it's for the community, the school should be.
Oh God.
The school should be buying that stuff.
Like that. Like, why do we have to pay for tissue? The school should do it.
When I know my wife used to spend her personal check to buy.
Sure, I think a lot of teachers spend their own money on stuff for their classroom. If that's where they're at, like you've already lost, there's no reason to get in a debate with them. I think you just try to help their student see, like the classroom community, that they have people around them that support them, that we're kind of all in it together, and then so hopefully the student, the child, will grow up to kind of see the benefit of that.
Well, Scott, speaking of dollars and cents, according to the National Retail Federation, they're saying back to school, average back to school for a kid in either high school or something like that, they're saying about $187 a year on electronics, $138 on shoes and about $122 for school supplies. So we're talking roughly $400 or so. Does that sound about right for back to school, you think?
School supplies definitely sounds about right, about 100. You know, the other stuff is up to you as far as shoes. You know, certain kids don't care about that.
Is that a big one in your classroom setting?
So I know my school provides calculators and whatever else. You know, depending on as they progress, they might need the graphing calculator or whatever else, which probably is a little. Yeah. That probably is $100.
We were only at 83 when I was in high school. The TI 83.
And then that first day of school, clothing wise and shoes wise, like if you didn't get the new Jordans,
you gotta be swagged out on the first day.
The first day clothes. Yeah.
138 on shoes is like, what are we just buying? Like Toms? Like, where's my kicks? You like Toms? Everybody likes Toms.
I do have a pair of Toms. They're dope, but.
Oh man, it was right there. Hold on, wait. It was right there. Go.
I was gonna talk about, like, I'm sure it's different for kids that go to school. Do y'all have uniforms at your school?
Yes, super lax though. So you got to wear khaki pants. You got to wear a school T-shirt or a school polo shirt. So it's pretty.
Oh, that's
laid back.
easy. Yeah, I went to private school. I went to private Catholic school. So we had a uniform. We had a summer uniform and then we had a winter uniform.
Nice.
So it switched. Our summer uniform was polos with the school logo on it, and then we had dress slacks. We had sweatshirts, we had sweaters, we had all that stuff. And then in the winter, we had button-down shirt logo with a school tie. So we had the whole deal. We had a lot of uniform. But I feel like my parents would probably not say the same thing. I feel like it saved money because I could wear the same 3 uniforms all year.
I went to public school in Flint, Michigan, and we didn't believe in uniform. In fact, you know, my daily soldier gear was usually what I have on now: sweatpants and a T-shirt and Timberland boots. Like obviously it's freezing cold up there most of the time. But yeah, I don't know how I would have felt about wearing a uniform.
I loved it.
I'm still not a big fan of it, to be honest. I think this is a completely different topic, but to me, sometimes I feel like it takes away from that school's personality, right? It can, or it can take away from that kid's personality.
I loved it.
You freak it out your own way, but you know, I get the uniformity. I support it. I just didn't come up like that. So
I mean, what do you think as a teacher about uniforms?
As a teacher, I personally don't care, to be honest. As a student, I always found it easier. Like, it was just easier. You never had to worry. You never had to pick out clothes. You were just wearing your uniform.
School uniform right there.
I would get up and I would smell it. I would pick it up out of the corner. I would smell it. If it didn't smell like ass, I was good to go.
I think from
most of your clothes.
From a school perspective, it eliminates some issues too. So yeah, it takes away from individuality and students' own kind of sense of style. But what's appropriate to one person is not always the same to another person.
Yeah.
So uniform.
Cool uniforms. I mean, like made by Nike.
Uniforms really aren't. I don't know. Throw that out there. I don't think so. But.
You definitely got to have the slim fit Dickies with the cell phone pocket. That's what the kids have to have. Your school polo, and then whatever shoe game you're deciding on that day.
See, your kid, they get to pick their own shoes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We had to wear a specific uniform shoe.
Were they like the Velcro joints?
No. They were like those. We called them Bass Bucks. I don't even know if that's the right name for them, but they were the tan with the red bottom. But they weren't bad.
A dress shoe.
Like it was like a But it was dope. I liked it because I didn't have to pick anything out.
Here's another statistic. Tell me, and I just want to hear both of your reactions to this. So supposedly, this is as of last month on the 12th. Back to school is an $82 billion a year industry.
Oh yeah.
As high as $83.6 billion.
Oh, I totally believe that.
Man.
I totally believe that.
Just imagine, and we just talked about those numbers. Like, imagine what it's going to cost when our daughters start, and if we end up, if we all have another one, I'm pretty sure it's that's even more. So I am eerily happy about this.
Maybe it'll be cheaper because all we have to do is buy the iPad, and that's it.
You're right.
Potentially.
Maybe we can just get the chip implanted and they just download the
Good.
lesson like right into your head. Take that.
We don't even have to take them to school. We just get on the laptop. Be like,
Excuse me.
bless you.
Look, Scott, this has been a great time. Like,
It has.
I have enjoyed talking to you. I admire teachers, man, what every teacher does. You know, I was a student once, and God help all those teachers who dealt with
Same.
me. But I think I made it. I'm okay. So I do. Do you have a favorite teacher?
Yeah, 100%. Miss Huss. She was a nun, and she used to kick our asses. Oh man, she used to cuss us out.
That sounds awful. So what made her? What made her your favorite?
Because she was real. Like she didn't. Yeah. No, for real. But she was so real, and like she wasn't like other. It sounds bad, but our other teachers were like very like sweet and like you'll get. Right. Miss Huss was like no.
She held you accountable.
Oh, for sure. Like we had the desk. We had the desk where you could put the stuff on the inside. Yes. If your desk was messy, she would come by and dump it out on the floor and be like, clean it up, straighten that up. Or if your binder wasn't, like, if your things weren't all in order and you had your tabs and your papers weren't straight, she'd open up the binder and dump all your papers out and make you straighten them up.
Essentially, she was Joe Jackson. So, do you have a favorite teacher or do you have a favorite subject as well?
Yeah, I'm a math teacher, so I'm partial to that now. In high school, and actually growing up, I think it was social studies history. So my favorite teacher, I had him for American history and world history. His name was Commander McNitt. He was a retired naval commander, so he really knew his stuff. Yeah. And he would get really intense into, like, strategy, which has nothing to do with high school curriculum at all. But he, like, on the board, he'd get real into, like, and then people came from this way, and the elevation, and by the end of the class, if you looked at the board and took a picture of it, you would have no idea what was going on. It did not look. Dope.
If I had to pick a favorite, I never had this teacher's class. I just knew him outside the classroom. His name was Mr. Marvin Gilliam. And his favorite story he used to tell was how he missed the bus to the '76 Olympics, and he was going with the Olympic team, but he got caught up in traffic and he couldn't make it. And he's like, "Fool, I tell you, I was so fast." He used to talk like that, man. He was just a comedy show, man, in the classroom. And so, Mr. Gilliam, this one's for you, man. I hope he's still around kicking. I have not, reconnected with any of my teachers, but he was definitely just comedy.
Yeah, man.
You would be down the hall and hear him telling the story about the '76 Olympics, man.
Every time.
Never forget that.
Well, Scott, we really appreciate you coming by, man. Talk to us about this stuff.
Thank you, guys.
No, I appreciate it. We are going to be back with some more information about back to school.
Now we went from K-12. Now we're going to the collegiate level.
Going to college.
A whole nother level of back to school.
Whole different thing.
You got to sit in offices and you got to meet the registrar of voters
Mm-hmm.
for the college. We'll be right back.
Keep up with us and smash that subscribe button.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here with Mr. Robert Mitchell, and he is the University Registrar for Dillard University here in New Orleans, Louisiana, one of the elite and premier HBCUs in the United States of the Americas. I'm Antoine Harris, Winton Yates here, and welcome, Robert. How you doing?
I woke up this morning, so I can't complain.
Really? I never went to sleep, so I can't.
Hey, I did.
So, Robert, we're here, we're talking about back to school, right? And so now you're on a collegiate level, as I'm like clicking through a million ads. You're on a collegiate level, and so Scott was here earlier, right? K through 12. Scott was saying, things he needed, tissue and wipes and this and that. You, as the university registrar, it's got to be a completely different vibe this time of year. It's probably extremely busy.
It's fun. Actually, I know that sounds crazy, but it's fun because you get a chance to meet a whole new class, and you get to meet a whole bunch of new people who are just eager to learn and eager to try to run through college really quick.
Right.
But it's good to see a new class and know that, hey, you have a responsibility and you have a whole new way to educate these young people that's coming in. They're excited, and it's good to see the excitement of them coming in, but they're also nervous, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's their first time kind of getting away from mom and dad, so you get all types of different types of genre of students.
What kind of questions? What kind of questions they ask you?
The parents or the students?
Both.
Yeah, both.
The parents are more so of how much is this going to cost.
Of course.
That's true.
Will my baby be okay? The students are more like, they don't want to be called kids, they want to be called students and young adults. And some question they ask is, how long would it take me to graduate? Right off the bat, would it really take me 4 years to get my degree?
The answer's fine.
Can I bring my car on campus as a freshman? And so as a university registrar, we don't really get to see the students per se or interact with them until SOAR, which is student orientation, advising, and registration at Dillard University. And that's when we kind of integrate with the students. I integrate with the students also, the students are VA students, so I'm in charge of all the VA students at the university. So those parents are saying, well, my grandfather was a veteran. Can I use my grandfather's benefits? Or my dad was a veteran. I never met my dad before, but can I use his benefits? But those situations have happened, but I'm jokingly saying that. But at the end of the day, because Dillard is such a unique institution, we get to kind of put our hands on every student. And it's great. That's the beauty of working at a small institution, small private institution, because we're all one family. And under the Division of Enrollment Management, we all work together.
So how can parents, especially parents that are bringing in freshmen, new kids, new experience, I'm sure a lot of the families that you're dealing with are first generation kids.
Yes.
How can they set their kids up for success when bringing them to school and dropping them off and, letting them, throwing the little chick off the cliff and letting them fly? What are some of your pieces of advice to set them up? Like, what are some of your pieces of advice to set them up for success from the start?
Okay, so speaking for Dillard University, we have a great director of admissions, Monica White, and her team is phenomenal. They send out a lot of information. So the very first thing you have to do is read and check your emails. Read and check your the mail that comes to your home. The information that's being sent from the institution, please read it. And then if you have questions, instead of just calling the university, call the individual who sent the letter to you or the email to you.
And that sounds so easy.
It sounds so easy, but when you are coming to college is different from high school, where we're sending you a bunch of information because we want to make sure that you know what you're getting into. So just read, number one. Number two, ask questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question.
What should we ask? What are some things
how much does it cost to go to school? What's the average cost for books?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Should I live on campus, off campus? What can I bring as a residential student? Who is my academic advisor? Right? What's the average course load I should take?
Right.
And so for me, those questions, I can answer all those questions with one statement: is in your academic catalog. And your academic catalog is your academic Bible or whatever you choose to read or what have you. But once again, those questions that I just mentioned, those are questions that we send out to our students. So one of the things that we've done unique at Dillard is that we have clearance days. Clearance days are where you come to the institution to get clear financially, through financial aid, through business and finance, through residential life, if you stand on campus, through health services, if you're going to be coming on campus, staying on campus. So if you go through those clearance days and you read what you actually read, then you're going to be fine. You're going to be cleared. The best feeling in the world is to come to campus on move-in day and move directly into your residential halls and say, hey, now I'm ready to go through orientation.
Right. Yeah. So when you think about this, Rob, all right, so it's my first day on campus, and I'm looking for where do I go? I'm lost. I can't find this. How often do you get people in your office, saying, hey, how do I adapt to the school? In other words, how can I get ingrained into the culture? Because, let's be honest, an HBCU culture is much different from, where I went to school in Michigan. So
same here. I went to Georgia Southern, so.
What do you do to tell students to, first of all, help them find their way, but get involved in the campus?
So we have the thing called SOAR leaders. SOAR leaders are typically students who are upperclassmen from sophomores to seniors. They assist us with that from a student perspective. What I tell them is to just, hey, where's your SOAR leader? Because they get introduced to them. But if they come to me and ask me a question, I would say, first thing first, number one, have you talked to your roommate? You know, if you're staying on campus, maybe talk to your roommate.
Do they normally know each other?
Yeah, so residential life, they typically get them all together before they, like maybe the first week of their, before school starts, they all move in a week before school starts, and it kind of gets them together and have different enrichment activities for them so that they can bond and meet each other. But coming to me, and I would just say, hey, what do you like to do?
Right.
You know, if you like to have a good time and want to get involved, I'll tell them, get involved with student organizations. That's key. Go to class, because the freshman year is that we put them in learning communities. So if you are a mass comm major, you're going to be in a mass comm cohort. So you're going to be taking classes with some of the same individuals. So it's going to be real easy to kind of get to know Winston, right? And say, hey, man, like I said, your face looks familiar, right? Yeah. It's like, you're in my 9 o'clock math class, right? Yeah. And then Antoine, you're in my, on Tuesdays, I see you every Tuesday at 2 o'clock, right? You're in my 2 o'clock class, and all of a sudden you start seeing each other more often, and that's kind of make it easier to kind of bond with new people and get to know them. And then also you got to step outside your shadow a little bit. But I also go back to my first year in college. I attended Alabama State University in Montgomery, Alabama, and I'm just this cat from New Orleans. Right? And my whole, you know how we talking to all, whoa, what's happening with your baby, what's going on, you heard me? And I got people looking at me like, what is a wine, right? I'm like, wine, what's happening, right? So people looking at me like, do you know Master P? Do you know Cash Money? But I was nervous because I didn't know any of my high school friends went out there, so I kind of stepped out on faith and kind of walked around campus and started meeting people. And I realized some of the coolest people that I met was in college. And just kind of put yourself out there. Go to basketball games. Go to football games if you have a football team. Go to different events that they have on campus, and I promise you, you're gonna find someone you can hang out with and have a good time. And also, as it relates to the learning communities, have someone you can study to. Remember, you're coming to school to get a degree.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with some more information about first day, going back to school, college style, and being successful.
All right, the next chapter.
You are tuned in to the Dad to Dad Show with Winton Yates and Antoine Harris.
Again, remember, if you want to be a part of the conversation, you want to talk to us, you want to give us some suggestions about things that you want to hear us talk about, whether they be parenting issues, topics, parents in the news, all kinds of stuff. You just want to send us some questions or a shout out, hit us up on all of our social medias, Dad to Dad Show, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Gmail. You get same handle for everything. But we are back with some college advice.
And we got Robert Mitchell with this. Robert is the registrar for the university, or for Dillard University rather. And we were talking about the transition, right? From, you know, from, what is it? I guess I would say from high schooler to college, you know, when you are now a full-fledged adult. You're no longer, well, you're still getting claimed on them taxes. We don't need that till you're about 30. However, I know it has to really be an adjustment, Robert, for parents. So talk about two things. Talk about the student adjusting from high school to college, and then the parent having to adjust from their student being in high school and then college.
Great question, man. So the high school to college is a very unique transition. So one of the things that we do at Dillard to assist with that is called first year seminar, which every student is required for them to take. And essentially, it's like every institution have an orientation course. Where at Dillard we do a little bit different. You do it for a whole year, and you also go through convocation. So the adjustment will be more so like, hey, you go to school at a certain time, the bell rings, you're out of school, right? At you know, your first year in college, that's not how that happens. Your first year of college is you have an 8 o'clock class, you may not have another class to maybe 10 o'clock, and you may not have another class at 3 o'clock on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Right, yeah.
On a Tuesday, you may have 11 o'clock class, a 10 o'clock class, and you may not have another class until maybe 5:30. So you say to yourself, what do I do with all this time, right? And I mean, and that's where it's important to get involved with understanding the things that we're teaching you, and I say we because I also teach first year seminar as well at the institution. The things that we're teaching you in first year seminar, like time management, which is key, study skills, and at the institution we also have people like Mrs. Hermine Jones who assist you with creating a schedule to assist you with studying. And all this is free.
And I'm sure that stuff. I mean, I know coming out of high school, a schedule was never something that
you never think about. But you think about it when you're trying to be eligible for sports, or you're trying to be a part of a Greek organization that happens in your sophomore year.
Right.
That's where the student leaders, the story leaders I spoke about in our first segment, that's where they're coming in and inform them of those certain things that, hey, you have to have a 2.8, I believe, to be a part of an organization. That's the university requirement, but these Greek organizations are sometimes looking for 3.0 students.
Mm-hmm.
And when you fall behind in college, it's a challenge. So that's one of the things we talk about. But for the parents, in our world, we call them helicopter parents, of those parents who just won't let go. But we do our very best to ensure them that we're going to help them. But there's a law, an acronym called FERPA, which prohibit us from sharing any information about the student. That law is by the federal government. It used to be called the Privacy Act. And we cannot, by law, share information about the student, regardless if they're your child, regardless if you care to share them with your taxes. We can't share academic or financial information about that student without the student's consent.
And I'm sure when
there has to be some sort of release, right?
There is a FERPA release form that is in our office. Also, we have this thing called MyDU that students can fill out the form and submit that form to us electronically.
I'm pretty sure my mom forged my signature on that, because she used to get like, boy, you didn't go to class today?
So it's very funny, right?
How you know that?
So it's very funny, right? What's funny about it is that we have a session during SOAR, which is, like I said, our orientation time, and we have a session for the parents, and we have a session for the students. So the session for the parents like, my baby gonna sign that form. She gonna, oh baby, you ain't gotta what's that firm called? That TERPA form? The FERPA form. The FERPA form. So you see the parents are dragging the students, and so what I tried, so I had the same conversation with the students. But I tell the parents, I say, look, you can drag, little Johnny down to fill out this form, but the second he leaves, he has the ability to, rescind this form. Yeah. And I don't have to inform you that he has done this. Oh, what you mean? I'm paying money. And I think when parents first hear that, their biggest thing is that we're not trying to be helpful, but we're just trying to protect the law and follow the law and protect that student. My job as University Registrar is to protect the institution and the university, the student academic record. I'm the official record keeper of the institution. And then there are some parents who, when you show them what we have, if I show you on our website, here's everything you need to know. Here's the academic calendar where we have final exam, midterm exam schedules. And it's not like high school. We don't do, we don't have, let me call it teaching the midway and say parent-teacher conferences. We don't really have that in college. So that's a transition. Right. There's only one official grade, which is the final grade. And so that's another transition. But then I tell them, I say, we have this thing called MyDU. And if you get your student's ID number and your student's password, you can look at their midterm grades. You can look at
real life hacking at that.
Right, but if they think about it, they have the information. You just gotta know they have the information. But the parent can always change it. But it's fun, but it also can be challenging. But once we have that conversation with them and we assure them that they're going to be fine.
Let me ask you this. For the helicopter parents who are the ones that are like, oh, no, they're going to do this, they're going to do this, they're going to do this. What would be some of your advice to them on how, I know we talked about the student being successful, but how to be a successful parent in letting your child grow up, find themselves in the collegiate environment, find out who they want to be as an adult, and actually experience college as an adult or a growing young adult?
So that's a slippery slope in a sense. As a parent, we're all parents, right?
Right.
We never want anyone to tell us how to parent
Absolutely,
our child.
That's
so
his motto. Don't tell me.
Right.
However, with that being said, if I tell the parent to say, hey, here are the dates that are important for your child. And actually, when you're having those conversations, hey, son, or hey, daughter, how's school going? Right before they ask you for that check, or right before you write that check or deposit that money to their account, hey, I see there's midterm exams are coming up. Have you studied? So when you're saying those days like that, like, how am I gonna know?
Right.
Because it's on the website, and we told you during orientation that you have to study that. The other piece you gotta look at too is that, well, I see the final exam has been posted. have you met with your professors? Have you done this? And then I send out emails. I'm a different registrar, right?
Right.
You all probably went to college, probably never met the registrar, probably even know who he or she is. I send emails out like about twice a month to students and saying, hey, FYI, I do one calls, and one calls, and when we send a one call out saying make sure you do X and Y, Z, well, I just pulled the numbers off the system. Sometimes that number is the home number, sometimes that number is the mobile number, but guess what? Somebody will answer that phone.
Right.
And so sometimes the parent, did you just call here? Well, I miss so-and-so. I'm his mother, baby. Is he all right? Ma'am, he's fine. Just make sure that he's studying for his midterm exam, or make sure that he has registered for his courses. So to assist with that, you give them the tools.
Right.
To ask the questions to their students, and that would help the student actually mature. And then you come back and it's kind of reverse psychology. So when you're sitting with the student, you say, now you know your mama gonna be blowing your phone up. Why don't you beat them to the punch and say, Mom, this is what's going on.
Essentially, grow up already.
Right, this is what's going on. And like I said, I know we're getting short on time, but I would say this. It helps because during graduation, the worst part of my job is having to tell a student they can't graduate. And the very first thing they want to do is, you got to tell my mom. No. Because if you want me to have a conversation with your mother and you're going to release me, this verbal release to have this conversation with your mother, do know I'm going to tell your mother or your parent and guardian everything that you failed your class 3 times, that you repeated this course 3 times, that you changed your major 3 times, and that, oh, by the way, I sent you this degree audit a couple of months ago telling you were not going to graduate. Yeah. So you got to make it full circle.
Why are we having this conversation?
Why are we having this conversation? And so, like I said, man, it's
why you really about
right.
What you want?
I told you that last semester.
Right, last semester. Did you or did you not get the email?
Let me ask you this: being, and I'm not even going to say this is an HBCU thing or anything, but I'm going to say, being that you're a smaller private institution, do you find it? Because you brought up something very interesting. Do you find it better to have that sort of one-on-one with the students and that you have more interaction? Because I'll be honest, when I went to Eastern Michigan, I couldn't tell you who was in the administration at the time. I do know tuition went up my last year because they built the president a mansion over by the football stadium. That's the most that I know. But I didn't know any of these people, and I feel like from your conversations, you're very, very connected to the students. You're not just somewhere in the office, in your bird's nest. Do you find that to be the case?
Oh man, I tell you, it's key. The one-stop shop is key. And I call it the one-stop shop where you have financial aid, admissions, and the registrar's office all in the same building. But even through orientation, we all introduce ourselves. We all come from behind our desk, polo shirts, jeans. Hey, how you doing? My vice president, David Page, I will never forget this. When he first started working at Dillard, he was behind the computer helping students with financial aid. I'm like, I've never seen that.
That's awesome.
Before. Yeah. Dr. Kimbrough, our president, which would be great to have on your all show, Dr. Kimbrough has a special session with new students. Yeah. Without no parents involved.
That's awesome.
I couldn't tell you who my school
And then he reversed that, and he has the same session with the parents with no students involved. We're not there. He tells us he doesn't want us to be there. Wow. Yeah. Not because we hear saying something we can't hear, but he wants them like, yo.
He just wants that.
He wants that one-on-one, like, I'm your university president. Your child's going to be here for the next 4 years. This is my contact information. Here is Mr. Mitchell's contact information. This is David Page. And he actually put all that on a PowerPoint screen. So for a parent and our student to say that they do not know who to contact for X and Y, Z.
That's fantastic.
Is no.
It's
no.
I think that's fantastic.
So that's how we help handle that.
I never had that connection with my school in that way. It's probably why I don't give them a dime. Here's another question. Tell me what I get that alumni letter every year.
Please don't that. Like, please get back to your institution, please.
They're rich.
Keep up with us and smash that subscribe button.
So here is a very interesting statistic. According to campustechnology.com, tell me if this sounds right. The average cost of textbooks, $602 a semester. Does that sound right? Is Dillard taxing For the books like that?
First of all, it's not Dillard taxing for the books. But
check out
to your bookstore, Barnes and Nobles. But no, that sounds about right. I mean, textbooks are very, very expensive. And I heard in your last session you were talking to Scott, right, about students are waiting to see how it's going to go before you purchase the textbook. Please purchase the textbook. It's very, very important because in the textbook you have chapters 1. Typically, the first 2 weeks of school is chapter 1 and chapter 2, or whatever you're getting involved in. And you want to start off on a good note, right? So please purchase the textbooks. Now, here's things that people run into. I can't purchase my textbooks until I get my refund check.
Man, that was me.
That was me.
I was the one in the class like,
right. You hear that?
I don't have it.
I ain't got it. I don't have it.
I don't have it
you know, man, the way my checking and savings work, I don't have it.
I don't have it.
So for those who are going to share this live feed, this video, this podcast. I said it wrong.
It's early.
It's early. It's okay. Antoine woke me up. I couldn't go to church this morning. So Lord, blame Antoine. Wouldn't have nothing to do with blame Antoine. So for parents who are going to be watching this and have kids and getting ready to go to college, I strongly recommend that you put a kiddie phone aside for books. Because if you can just get your student, I know you got to pay for college. I know you got a lot of fees coming out there. But just put, if your child's a sophomore, a senior in high school, take $50 out a check or a month, right? And save that money for books so that when your child comes in and that your child gets their schedule, they can purchase their books right away. And they're not waiting on the refund check. I know we don't have a money tree, but books are very, very important. And then also students, if you watch this, please do not throw away your books. Allow your books to be allow your books to start your library. I can't tell you, when I was in school, I was never the strongest writer. Okay? And I can't tell you how often I pull out my English book, I pulled out my public speaking book, all the time to kind of pull out certain things to remember how to do certain things, to write certain letters. So start your library. My degree is in business management, and I can't tell you how often I pull out my marketing book when I'm trying to figure out key ways to market to the students about registering for their classes. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The 4 Ps are very, very essential, no matter what field you go into. For those in marketing, you know what the 4 Ps are. So, so that's very, very key.
I'm looking at a campus map right now, and which hall are you in?
I'm in Rosenwald Hall, which is as soon as you come on campus on the main gate. Nice. And that's where the president's office is located. That is where financial aid, business and finance. So once again, we create the one-stop shop there. But for orientation, we take everyone out that building, and we all go to the public PSB, which is a professional school building on campus. It's easier access for our parents and our students to come in, and we all in one spot.
I got a good. I feel like this would be a good wrap-up question. What are some of the biggest stumbling blocks that you see students bring upon themselves when they start out?
Hanging out with the wrong crowd, not studying, not managing their time effectively and efficiently, homesickness. Homesickness is something that's key because, let's be real, sometimes it's hard to adjust. If you come from a small community and you now try to come to New Orleans, Louisiana, you have no car. You have you having a struggle. You having a struggle trying to meet new people because you're shy. And you maybe feel like people don't like you, or for whatever the reason. So homesickness is real. But I would say that we have, for every stumbling block that a student may have, we have resources for that. That is included in the tuition. Throughout, if you have depression and you need someone to talk to, we have free counseling that is confidential. If you have any medical issues, health services. If you need any other type of issues that you may come across, we have student support services. We have services, and then we have this thing called the Men of Dillard, which is he's now Dr. Jeff used to call him Mr. Jeff, but he's now Dr. Jeff as recent as last week. The Men of Dillard, he's in charge of that. And you also have Collegian 100, which is a subsidiary of the 100 Black Men of Metropolitan New Orleans that we help our young men. And then once again, the student organization. So you're going to have stumbling blocks as a freshman, but if you get involved with the SGA, you get involved with student organizations, you get involved with just getting out there, you actually go and leave your room and go to the caf and eat in the caf.
Well, I used to love eating in the caf, man.
Right. Just
love eating in the caf.
And then I want to say this before I close. Dr. Kimbrough, and you can follow him at Hip Hop Press. That's his handle on Twitter, I think Instagram as well. he makes it a point to try his best to eat with 100% of the freshmen for lunch. He sends the email out to every freshman and say, hey, if you want to do lunch with me, email me. I'll put you on my calendar. Right?
Cool.
So I think his numbers have steadily increased. I don't want to misquote his numbers on this show because I don't know where they were, but I know that they have steadily increased since he's been there. He's been there. This is going into his 7th year of Preston University. He has done that since he's been there. So I encourage those students because when I was in school, I only saw my president when he was coming in and coming out.
Going out, yep.
Dr. Kimber was like, yo, you have opportunity to come and eat lunch with me, and he also goes off campus. And so take advantage of those opportunities. Take advantage of, if the university registrar sends you an email, read it. If someone say, come and see me, come have lunch with me, have lunch with that administrator because you need to know them, right? And they need to know who you are. So this has been awesome.
No, we appreciate you coming. And what I like is I think all of your advice, even though you come from Dillard, is it translates to any university, any school that you plan on
and
going
Robert,
to.
tell people how they can get in touch with you.
You can reach me at rvmitchell@dillard.edu, 504-816-4705 is the office number. You can follow us on Twitter at DU Registrar. That's where we're on Twitter. So yes, I tweet as a university registrar and tweet different things. But we would love to have you come on campus. We're doing great things on campus. We just recently had Elizabeth Warren and Cedric Richmond on campus, so we host a lot of things. Come out to Brain Food. Brain Food is free of charge. Cool. We have some heavy hitters coming through Brain Food this year. My favorite Brain Food last year was Gabrielle Union, so praise her. Wow. Praise her. So we have great things that's on campus. Issa Rae came on campus. So please go to our website, check us out, come on campus. We welcome you to come on campus. And it's a great day to be a Blue Devil. So,
Rob, man, we appreciate it. Rob is a good friend of mine, man. Always a pleasure. We get a chance, to rap, man. So, coming back, we're gonna have Baby Tech Time, and we got our Dad of the Day.
It's Baby Tech Time.
What's up to all the dads out there, all the parents? It is Baby Tech Time, and I have something right here across my shoulders that has helped me tremendously since I've been in the baby bag game, and that is the Flapover Compu Backpack by Kenneth Cole Reaction. And so this is supposed to be what's considered a computer bag, but this thing has compartments all over it that can help you when it comes to packing up a diaper bag and you don't want to have the traditional bag, it look like a purse. Or if you just want to be a cool dad like me and have a dark matte or black one like this, and it's very, very nice. So, just to describe it before we even get into it, it's the standard size of a book bag or a backpack. It's whatever you want to call it. We call them book bags where I'm from. And it has a lot of room. It has 2 mesh pockets on the outside. And as you can see, I have my daughter's bottle in here. You can have a bottle of water on the other side or whatever you want to pack in it. It's very spacious and it has a lot of room on the outside. And the material of this, if you could feel it, it's all vinyl. So it's easy to wipe off. If you get stains on it, you can wipe them off very easily. Just use like a wet rag or something to that degree. Also, it's pretty much waterproof. So anything that gets on this will just fall right off. As far as a backpack goes, it's got your standard 2 straps, it's got your handle, which is rubberized here, so just in case you want to hold it in the palm of your hand, you'll be good. And of course, it's got the adjustable straps. So it's called the flap over because the first thing you do, take down these 2 flaps here, and you just flap it over. So once you open it up, you have another zipper here, which goes down the entire length of the bag. So, when we go in, pow, look at how much space this thing has. You can pretty much store anything you want in here. I got my daughter's shoes. Apparently, she has some Air Max in here. One of her favorite toys is the Baby Mini. She loves this thing right here. And, of course, plenty of diapers. Adult diapers can also fit in here too, if that's your thing. We got wipes in here, and if you remember from another Baby Tech Time, I talked about the soft packs, the soft top containers for snacks. These also can fit. So you can pretty much put anything in here. one thing that I found very cool, as you get inside of this, there's also compartments in here. You have 4 slots where you can put anything in, cards, all your bank stuff, credit cards, what have you. And then there's an even deeper back pocket that goes. This is the one that goes against your back that you can put anything in as well. So again, plenty of compartments and plenty of storage. At times if I'm out in the public and when Anya was smaller, if I had to change her diaper and there wasn't a changing table around, which is pretty much the issue in a lot of bathrooms, especially in the men's bathroom, there's no changing tables. This has a very soft back. Again, hypoallergenic. You can wipe this thing off with water and so forth. And I would set her right here on this and just use it as a sort of a table or what have you, so that I could change her diaper. Now, going back to the outside of the bag, on the left side, if you're facing it, there is a side pocket here where you can put essentially anything for quick access. The very bottom pocket is a cooler. So as you can see, it's lined with foil. So if you had things in here, get your hand out the way. If you had things in here like, maybe some snacks or juice or whatever, it can stay into this full air. It can actually stay cool in there. You can put like an ice pack in there and it won't leak. We have tissue for some reason. So again, this has been one of my favorite things to use. I don't like the traditional diaper bag for myself. I always liked, being a little bit cooler. It's a little more discreet. I'm sorry.
How much is it?
I'm just gonna get to that. Sorry. I'll start over. 3, 2, and 1. I've always enjoyed this bag. I'm not a big fan of the traditional diaper bag for guys. So this one is a little bit more discreet, more of my style. I love the coloring. And the really cool thing is you can find it on several websites. It's pretty much about $24 for the bag, which is not expensive at all for what you get, in my opinion. And as I always like to say, I'm not an expert at all. I'm not a trained expert. This is just me using this thing and giving my personal opinion. The best place to find this will be probably on Amazon, which they have everything, and so that would be my recommendation. Is kind of just search the. It is the Flap Over Compu Backpack by Kenneth Cole Reaction, and again, this thing has been a lifesaver for me. So that's it. Baby tech time. I'm out.
You are tuned in to the Dad to Dad Show with Winton Yates and Antoine Harris.
All right, welcome back, Dad to Dad Show, and right now we get into one of our favorite segments, which is the Dad of the Day.
Dad of the Day.
The most amazing.
Best dad ever. And the award goes to...
So our Dad of the Day, we thought long and hard about this. And when the news came out last week about Mr. Steve Gleason.
Yes.
And his wife, Michelle. And their son, Rivers, who is now going to be a big bro.
Yep.
Because they are expecting their second child. We said none other than the Steve Gleason could be our Dad of the Day.
Has to be. He's a hometown hero.
I mean, this guy, he's
amazing.
Been amazing. He will not, he got diagnosed with ALS in 2011 and has not stopped him.
Has not stopped, dude.
His,
if anything, he's gone harder since he got that.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. I mean, this guy has, he was iconic, obviously, during that Super Bowl year run.
The block.
And he has continued to make strides. I mean, his
foundation does amazing things for other people that have ALS.
There's not anything that's too good that we can't say about him.
The documentary which is on Amazon. If you have not seen Steve Gleason's documentary, I've seen it twice. It is by far one of the best documentaries I've ever seen.
And he continues to do very good things for those who are dealing with ALS and those who are struggling with it. So Steve Gleason, we are sending this out to you as our Dad of the Day. Hopefully one day we can get you on the show so we can talk about all of the courageous things you've done, and you've been such an inspiration to so many people. And I'm just very proud, man, to be in the city where somebody like yourself is making such an impact. And not letting anything stop you. So
nothing.
This one for Steve Gleason. You are the Dad of the Day. Now, If you have a dad of the day that you want to recommend, or somebody that you think has been, an influence, or someone that's just been a fantastic father, not to take away from the mamas out there, you're all moms of the day, but we'd like to give our shout outs to Dad.
Yeah.
Tell them how to get in touch with us.
You can tweet us, you can Instagram us, you can email us, you can Facebook us, all of those things.
YouTube us?
You can YouTube us, all of those things, Dad to Dad Show. So on Instagram, you just type in Dad, the number 2 show at Instagram. We're on Instagram. Right. On Twitter, it's the same thing, Dad to Dad Show. Facebook, Dad to Dad Show. And we post everything on there. Send us your suggestions for posts, for your nominations for Dad of the Day.
A small description of why you nominated that person.
Mm-hmm.
And if we didn't get them this week, we could probably end up getting them next week.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, it's always a pleasure. I'm glad you got me out of bed this morning, man. Hopefully,
it was a struggle.
Hopefully you will not deal with this sleep regression the way we
we probably will.
Shout out to my wife. She has been a soldier throughout this entire thing, and I am just managing. But I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I'm here.
You gonna get there?
Yeah.
You gonna get there?
Yeah.
Maybe you can go take a nap sometime today.
No, I'm getting it in today. I'm up. Nothing lasts forever is what I've always been told. And in the words of my Uncle John, never sweat the small stuff.
It's just a small thing that you can't sleep for a night or two.
All right, man. Appreciate it. I guess we're out.
We out. We will see you guys for the next episode of Dad to Dad Show.
And you know what we're talking about? What guys can do, dads, when it comes to breastfeeding.
Because it is breastfeeding month.
Exactly. And this is very good. We're going to have a specialist in who, this is what she does. She helps moms and she assists them. And she assisted my wife when it comes to breastfeeding. And she is phenomenal. Can't wait for you to meet her.
That'll be a fun conversation.
Yeah. Till then, I'm out.
We'll see you next week.